There's a few things that they didn't teach you in grad school about advancing your career. But in today's live, I'm going to talk to you about 3 things you need to know to make sure you're not left behind in your career, even if you already have a graduate degree. I'm Ashley. I'm the lead mentor of Mentor Me, a professional development company for high-achieving professional women. And the truth is that about 75% of my mentees have master's degrees, whether it's an MBA or a master's in accounting or a master's degree in education or counseling or many other fields that I serve women in. I serve very high-achieving professional women who have amassed a number of degrees, bachelor's degrees, master's degrees, certificates. Actually, about 15% of my clients have PhDs or are in doctoral programs currently. And so I think it's really important to talk to professional women about what they're learning in their graduate programs and maybe some of the things that their graduate programs are not preparing them for. And listen, nobody believes in education more than me. I have a bachelor's degree in sociology, a master's degree in the same field, and a doctoral degree in higher education administration. And in addition to running my business full-time, I also work full-time in the higher education industry. So really believe in education. I'm very impassioned about education, and I believe in women leveraging degrees, right, credentialing to advance their career. However, what I also know is true is that lots of graduate programs are not preparing professional women for the world of work in a way that is contemporary. Some of the strategies are not designed for women, especially not for Black and brown women, and that's the majority of the women that I serve. And I think it's really important that we tell them the truth about the world of work, that we prepare women adequately to engage with the world of work, to engage with bosses and supervisors and colleagues and stakeholders in our organizations, and that we're not hoodwinking women to believe that work is something that it's not. So in today's live, I'm going to talk about 3 things that they didn't tell you in graduate school about your career that you need to know to make sure that you're continuing to elevate. And if this conversation is supportive to you, definitely let's hop in the DMs and talk more about it. I really love talking contemporary career development strategy that's actually going to have massive impact on your career. And a lot of the impact shifts that I see with high achieving professional women is insider knowledge, me teaching them things, telling them things, inviting them to think in a different way than they have in the past, because that, perspective shifting is one of my favorite things to do, but it also has the most impact on the women that I serve. When they can finally have a new approach, a new perspective, a new way of thinking about things, a different way of considering their work, that's when women see real elevation in their career. So like I said, in today's live, we're going to talk about the 3 things that they did not teach you in graduate school. And number 1 is that the world of work is not just about loving what you do. Right. So I think that a lot of professional women, particularly women who are in the helping fields, right? So women who work in education, women who work in healthcare, women who work in community services, public health or mental health services, case managers, my mentees who are social workers, right? Like a lot of the things that we were told about our career was a lot around love what you do and you'll never work a day in your life. Or, you should really love what you do. Or, find something that you're passionate about, right? And just throw some hearts up on the screen if you've ever heard those stories. Like, find something that you're passionate about. Find something that's aligned with your purpose. Do something you love and you'll never work a day in your life. Let me know. Just throw some hearts up on the screen if you've heard those messages before. And I think that those are the stories that are told to women again and again about the world of work. Yeah, and I'm seeing those hearts come up on the screen, and it's a flat out lie. Girl, it's a flat out lie. I love what I do. I love what I do in mentoring women and helping them make more money and have more impact in their career. I absolutely love what I do in my industry in higher education, and I absolutely work hard every single day. There's not a day that I am not working hard. There's not a day that I'm not really invested in my staff or really invested in my team or really invested in my mentees. There are days when I'm like, man, this was really hard. There are days when I'm like, oh, I can't believe that I had to do do all of that, right? There are those days, and regardless of how much you love the work, the lie that graduate school will tell you is that if you find a job you love, you'll never work a day in your life. And it is a flat out lie. I think that, especially when it comes to educators, right? Like folks are telling you like, oh, just do it for the kids, just do it for the students, just do it for the community. And that is a flat out lie, right? Like, yes, loving what you do is a bonus. Loving what you do is a privilege. And honestly, loving what you do is something that I think women should strive for. You should really enjoy the work that you do. But just because you enjoy the work that you do, just because you love what you do, doesn't mean that nothing else matters. It does matter to be compensated appropriately. It does matter to be treated well and respected on your job. It does matter to actually drive impact and have your ideas and your perspective taken seriously in the organization. Those things do absolutely matter. And anyone telling you that it's all about you just loving the work that you do is a flat out liar. They're not telling you the truth because that's just not accurate. It's important to love what you do, but it's also important to be paid well for your work, to feel like your work is impactful and driving real impact, to be respected in your work. And I think that this is no more true than on Black Women's Equal Pay Day, which is today, September 21st, 2022, is Black Women Equals Pay Day. And this day basically marks how long Black women have to work to get the same amount that, for example, white men earn on day one. So it takes Black women till January 21st to earn the same dollar that white men, for example, earn on January 1st, right? And so that's not about love, right? Like that's about inequality. And regardless of if Black women love the work they do, they love the communities that they serve, they love the clients they work with, they feel like they're doing meaningful work, pay inequity is still a serious matter that impacts women in general and Black women in particular, having to work so much harder and so much longer to earn equitable pay. And so that's a flat out lie. I think the truth is that you can love what you do, you can take honor in what you do, and you can be paid well for your work, and you can drive real impact, and you can have your voice heard. I think that it's not just about loving what you do, it's also about feeling fulfilled in what you do, right? Feeling like your work matters, feeling like your voice is heard, being paid equitably for your work. That's the lie number one, and don't fall for it, right? If you believe in equitable pay, if you believe in women being treated fairly in their workplace and having their voices and ideas heard in a serious way, like those things are real, right? And we don't have to discount those things just because someone in our graduate program told us that we just have to love what we do. So another thing that I think that a lot of women did not hear in graduate school, and it's holding them back in their career, is that office politics can be used to your advantage. Oftentimes, I think that everyone's told to shy away from office politics or don't get caught up in the office politics of work. Or, people say things like, I don't want to deal with office politics, or I don't have time for office politics. And girl, you're playing yourself. Office politics can be used to your advantage. Office politics is nothing more than understanding the ideas, the mores, the expectations, and the sort of underlining perspective of your workplace, right? And you refusing to be savvy your colleagues or your coworkers and the nuances of your workplace, you refusing to understand that or take interest in that is a misstep. And the thing that they didn't tell you in graduate school is that knowing the office politics can allow you to use it to your advantage. So for example, one of the things that I'm big on teaching my mentees is around political capital, right? So really helping the women that I serve understand that as they do good work, as their work is seen by others, as they're promoted, as they earn raises, as they gain visibility in the organization, what they're doing is building political capital, right? They're building political capital. They're building a reputation of a person who gets the work done, of a person who can be depended on as a person who delivers, right? And that political capital, you're building that political capital, and then that political capital can be spent, right? You can spend that. You're earning it and you can spend it, and you want to cash in. You want to use your political capital. And I think a lot of times in grad school, they're teaching you a skill. They're teaching you a framework. Maybe they're teaching you about a particular, industry or concepts, or, credentialing the way that it works in your industry or whatever. But I think they're not always talking about that contemporary part of really understanding the political nature, the political landscape, the mores and operationalized ways that an organization works. And that's just as important as knowing how to do the work. And I think that this is where imposter syndrome often pops up, because what happens is that Black women often know how to do the work. They know what the work is. They know how to approach the work. They're very skilled in the work, but they feel left out. They feel awkward. They feel misaligned, because they're not thinking about the politics that are a part of the organization as well. They're not thinking about that. They're not considering that, or they know it, but they know of them, but they don't know how to navigate them or use the politics to their advantage, or to use their political capital to their advantage. And so I definitely want to just encourage you to know that you can use office politics to your advantage. And maybe that's something that your graduate program did not prepare you for, but it's something that is the absolute truth. You can use it to your advantage and really use it to level up in your career. And the third thing that your graduate school or your graduate program maybe didn't tell you about career is that it's okay to not know and grow, right? It is okay to not know and grow. And what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is that I think that sometimes we get in our heads that we have to know everything. We have to know how to do everything. We have to at day one be fully knowledgeable about everything. We can't get on the job training. We just got to come in, be a rock star, kill it, and knock it out of the park. And it's great if you have that experience. It's great if you start a new job or you're in a new role and you just know how to do it. That can be a good thing. What I will say is that if you on day one know how to do the job fully, if everything is already known to you, that may mean that you're overqualified for the job, quite frankly. If you already know how to do everything, if nothing is unknown to you, if you've got it all figured out, that just might mean that you're lowballing yourself, to be quite honest. But what I want to talk about is this idea that sometimes I think that we're overcompensating. And so we feel like I need to know everything. I need to understand everything. I have to be 100% matched to the job. And that's simply not true. You will find so much more job satisfaction. You will find so much more intrigue and interest in your career if you find and secure a role where you may not know everything, but it's a role that you can grow in and develop in, right? And I think that we get so caught up on perfectionism and wanting to know everything and wanting to know how to do everything and, making sure, we've got this or whatever, that we don't always take the time to think about growth and development opportunities over time. I think back to when I started in my current role in higher education. I had many years of working with online students. I've worked with online students for most of my career. That was a big part of my work. And so I was familiar with that. I had supervised folks in student activities. I had supervised folks in academic advising and development services. I had done things with new student orientation, things like that. I had been doing some of that work, but I didn't know a lot about supervising someone in student conduct. I didn't know anything about supervising someone in career services. I had never supervised anybody in mental health services or diversity, equity, and inclusion. I had never done any of that work, but just because I hadn't done it and it was part of the role didn't mean that I couldn't do it, didn't mean that I could not know and grow, right? And I think that sometimes we get in our ego when it comes to career. And I get it. It's your career. You feel like your reputation is on the line. You don't want to look like a dummy. You don't want to look like you don't know. You perceive that everyone else knows. And so you have this kind of inferiority complex, everyone knows but me, and I don't want to look like the person that doesn't know what they're doing, et cetera, even though that's not true and lots of people don't know what they're doing. But when we get in our heads, everybody knows what they're doing but me. And so then we feel awkward and uncomfortable and sticky about I don't want to not know. But the truth is that a lot of people don't know what they're doing. A lot of people don't know what they're doing. And I'm not saying go in and misrepresent yourself or apply for jobs where you have 10% of the skill set, but what I am saying is that you cannot know and grow. That some roles, some opportunities, some projects can be growth opportunities, and it can allow you to grow and develop even if you don't know everything right now. Allow yourself the joy of not knowing. And as a person who I often say, like, I only do things that I'm an expert in, that's a lesson to me too, because sometimes I'm just like, well, I don't know what to do. But often my best guess, my intuition, my knowledge of prior work or prior projects is often enough for me to not know but grow. And I just invite you into the same. I know that your grad program told you that you need to know every concept, every theorist, every approach. You need to, have a 10-point project management plan and implementation plan. Like, I get that. I know that they told you that that's the way it works. However, I just want to invite you into a new perspective, is that you cannot know and still grow. You can not have all the answers and still drive significant impact in your work and in your industry. And so as a recap, just know that it's not just about loving what you do, right? Your graduate school maybe told you that it's all about loving what you do and being passionate about what you do and serving the people, clients, the customers, the stakeholders, the students, but it's not just about that. There are other factors that you may value, and those can be important as well. Number two, office politics can be used to your advantage, right? I think a lot of times people are like, well, stay away from office politics or don't get political at work. And I'm not talking about, Democrat, Republican, Independent. I'm simply saying that the mores, the values, the approaches, the culture at work does absolutely matter. And you can't simply ignore it because you don't want to do politics. That's something maybe your grad school didn't tell you, but it's the absolute truth. And then number three is that it's okay to not know and grow. You cannot know everything and still grow and develop and advance your career in meaningful ways. And if you would benefit from mentorship that can help guide you in not knowing and growing, help guide you through tricky or awkward office politics, that can help guide you to not only love what you do, but be paid well for what you're doing or be respected in your industry. If you need mentorship in that, if that would be supportive to you, then I invite you to join the Mentor Me Mastermind today. It's a 6-month executive coaching experience for mid-level and senior level professional women. When I say mid-level, I'm typically meaning a woman who has at least 3 years of industry experience and is looking for a higher level role. If that sounds like you, then I invite you to join the mastermind today. You can do so right on my website at mentor-me.org. That's mentor-me.org. Thanks so much for watching today's live, and I look forward to seeing you in our onboarding call. Bye.